Let's go into our casters here for our third match of the day. Cloris and Blank, please take it away.
Thank you very much, boys. Erangel, so good. Erangel, so good. You slay as we get into our next game here to start things, and it is going to be quite the plane path here. Exciting stuff.
Well, I knew that Jason was a boomer, but I didn't realize that Hot Jukes was one as well. But yeah, heading over towards Erangel right now with military base once again. We're going to have the gangsters heading in towards this position. Are we going to see gladiators down here again? I'm not too sure. I don't think so. I think they're going to head further up. You can do it once, then the surprise factor's gone.
Yeah, that is for sure. Let's see how it's going to all play out for now. Vision heading over towards Primos to start things off, which of course is a slight deviation, but I mean, considering where they would normally go, that's difficult. Look at that. Doran, 435 meters. He's hit. Well, I'm going to anticipate what he's done there. He's seen a car in the distance, shot at the window, and hit someone.
Yeah.
When he's not really been able to see them that well.
Still, and it's really, really difficult shot to hit, honestly. That is like somehow wanted. But I think that at the end of the day, right, I think 435 is genuinely a record. I've seen it a few times now, and I think I've not seen...
You mean in this tournament?
Just in all tournaments.
In all tournaments?
I don't think I've ever seen a 435... I don't think I've seen more than 435 before. Ever.
We'll have to look.
We'll have to find out.
Into the archives.
Anyway, plane path once again.
Anyway,
sends over towards the western side. Shut up, mate. We're not going in the back to look at the archive right now. Yeah, no books, only video games.
Okay.
But yeah, plane path on the western side, East Circle. It's really messing with them today.
Yeah, it's been properly brutal. I was going to bring it up as well. I mean, looking at how this is, I was honestly, promise you, mate, promise.
Collecting that info
Scouts
from the archive. Hey?
That's right, that's right. I've got my books open. No, that's not true. I don't read. I can't read. We've got ourselves this plane path with this circle, as you say, for a lot of those teams, especially West Coast droppers. Very, very difficult to get those rotations going on, and it's just going to be basically an opposite of what we saw in the previous game.
Yeah, Regnum Kaya actually over towards that eastern side already. Just an instant push across. 143 points of Regnum Kaya.
Wow!
Sailing over the top of Nigma Galaxy at the moment. That is one hell of a jump up there.
Turkey is mad. They're like, we're not having this at all.
We've presented Fireflux and S2G. Those were our champions of choice. They have failed us. We've had to bring out the contractors. In Regnum Kaya, they have done really, really well so far. Turkey mercenaries.
Very well indeed. What a back-to-back so far for Regnum Kaya. Mate, let's go for the triple. Look at where they are on a circle like this. They're in shelter already.
It's a great spot as well, just in terms of being able to gather information around this area. But what a send out from Regnum Kaya almost immediately. It's just, I think they identified that there's no one really challenging these central positions other than them at the start of the game. And so they just pick up a really strong spot in the middle. Yesterday for Regnum Kaya, it was all about the case of the circles were so bad for them that they had to play that edge side, and they showed us that they could play from outside the circle, slowly work their way in. But today, we're going back to basics where they're like, right, this circle favors a little bit, let's just send it.
Yeah, there's been games where they've looked relatively flawless. And if I want to contest...
That's not even a joke either.
Exactly. I mean, even this last game, for the most part, if I want to contest something Seven brought up on the desk, he was talking about Mad Bulls kind of not taking a while for them to dislodge them as we watch another car flip. The production loves these. That's actually a lot of car flips. All right.
I don't do that on the, the face first slide.
No.
That's not involved.
Well, last time you were in a car, you flipped us and we had to run through the fields of Erangel. So, just saying.
Well, the face first slide, sometimes
Can I go back to my point? Shut up. I want to, because of course we were talking, Seven was talking about Regnum Kaya and Mad Bulls. Technically, yes, you could dislodge them quicker if you wanted to, but they have them dead to rights in a building like that. There's no escape paths really for Mad Bulls. So if it started delaying your move into the circle later on, I would understand. But for the most part, yeah, they were just biding their time.
Yeah, and I think when you are Regnum Kaya there and you spot the smokes train coming through from Nigma Galaxy, you don't want to invite a third party by getting involved with Mad Bulls. So it's well played. It is well played. Mad Bulls, in the meantime, do not take another engagement with GK. So it feels like the hot drop has just been...
subsided.
It's subsided, right? And I think GK realizes this is not working. And it's almost amusing that it stops after Geekay gets hot dropped on.
That
They're
is,
like,
yeah.
we didn't like that.
There's some coincidence to this for sure. Oh,
Treat others like you would like to be treated.
that's right. You
Yeah.
know what? Wise words, Blank. And I mean, even Max was saying on the desk yesterday, or was it on the desk, or was it on the cast? I can't remember, but he said it, that, you know, school and apartments is open. So why on earth not just kind of flex out over there? It's a very open spot and a great spot when it comes to loot, when it comes to vehicle potential of being able to have them there and just moving on. I mean, even they've got like mini Pachinki, I should say, north of Pachinki. So they've got loads of loot available. It's great.
Yeah, it's a position that we saw Major Pride take a lot over in PMPL EU. It works out really well. It is a little bit of a split drop, but it does mean you're gathering more information overall. And I would say quite safely, honestly, with the position you take him. Are we going for more of these mad car rides? Or is Gangsters have rotated.
Wait, are they not in the blue?
This is an early rotate
Whoa.
from Gangsters. I'm confused.
All right, regame. Something's wrong.
Yeah, get the re-host going.
I'm not having it.
This ain't right.
I don't like this, all right? Here's Regnum Carriers are on board with them. They did see Mad Bulls in the distance moving away. But likewise, I think that there was a potential conflict brewing with Fireflux. They can see them up to the north, and they're going to be looking at their way, making sure that they're not going to be moving down on their position. It's actually quite the wide split, technically, on a circle like this for Regnum Carrier at the moment, the 2-2 that they have going on. But they're going to go back to each other, rendezvous, get things back on board in Alamo.
Yeah, a really good position, honestly. With that ridge behind Alamo, it's one of the most valuable spots to have that when it comes to...
If you can control the ridge.
If you can control the ridge,
Yeah.
right? If someone gets on top of it, it becomes a little bit more difficult as they're shooting down towards you. But just being able to move out, which we know they do because they were very proactive teams at a lot of times. So I think Regnum Kai can certainly do something with that. We are Regnum Kai stands now.
I guess we are, yeah. They're really cool. Go, you guys. I mean, you're making really flawless games look very, very easy. But
I'm going to have to get the old Regnum Kai foam finger out.
I think what's cool about their position as well is that they rotated slightly east of this, saw how much they could get away with going west, and then if the circle moves east, they have access to things like heaven still, which is insane. But yeah, that's just kind of what you get with a playing path in a circle like this. But some shots coming in. RTG, oh, they were doing so well in the previous game, but going to lose one early on here.
Yeah, this is the alternative Gangsters. This is the one that actually holds you out inside the blue, rather than... Because they don't want anyone else have to blue them to themselves anymore. Gangsters is the only one that can be the one true love of the blue. So I think that this is an interesting play from Gangsters. It's worked out, and I think for RTG, who are on a good streak so far over the past 2 days, it is an unfortunate place for Gangsters to suddenly decide that they are a good team.
Yeah. Sure, yeah. I was like, but in secret, Gangsters forged another blue. Yeah. We control this. Like, no! RTG's going to have to run away another direction. That is a hard shift. Oh, my days.
It's the 9 circles for the 16 teams of men.
They can't control them. They're going to turn into ring raids. It's going to be bad.
Enigma Galaxy, though, this is a very rough position to be in right now with Evo Station. They have to leave right behind.
Oh, no.
Oh, that is depressing.
That is. Shots down. Evo Station doing the biz. He's on fire. Let's, you know...
Maybe park.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Oh, rocket up on next Rio. Will he be able to do anything, though? M4 across the road, and it's not going to be anything, though. The DBS shredding up Enigma Galaxy. They are going to fall in 16th. That is their worst game so far in the tournament.
We have said in the past the next Ryu's had really strong timings on pushing into compounds, but that has to be the quickest compound setup I've ever seen. They rocked up, they had 2 people behind the wall, one guy was already running up the stairs in the compound. I've never seen anything like that before. Gangsters looking to take a fight with Team Falcons now, who tried to hold them out, but they were having none of it.
Meanwhile, the true bearers of the one blue are trying to hold this off against Falcon. Walsh down this ridge line, trying to hold off that angle. And no, he will be able to deal with that. And even reinforcing shots against RTG, who are still here. So third parties abound.
Falcons looking to finish off RTG as well, as you say. Callagher with a really, really strong performance from last game. Send a grenade over the top, looks for the airburst. It goes just a little bit too far, and I think he got quite scared there as Axa came over the top with a grenade in hand of his own.
moving on with Caliga. Let's see you challenge for MVP today, because he got himself 9 in that previous one. You're going to have to do a lot to challenge Loxy. As Kevin still on this high ground, having a little look over. They just want to negate the blue. Just get out of here completely. Being held on this bridge is just not fun. Going to try and go for the spray, realizing that he's going to be moving forwards. Trying to still hit Caliga, but he will be able to get away. You can see the shot still raining in his direction, but he's fine. He's okay. He's okay.
Yeah, Kevin remains, and the Falcons fly away.
Don't do your impression again, please. I don't need that again. That on the desk was diabolical.
I'm just saying the Falcons fly away without Kevin, who remains with the precious, the one true blue.
You like this, don't you?
I do. I like that the Falcons actually fit into the end game.
Why didn't they just fly into Mordor? I don't know.
Oh, dear me. Anyway, Kevin will face the brunt of the blue as the rest of the teams leave. But looking on a more larger scale here towards the circle, we do see next to you towards that central compound with Regnum Kai actually holding 2 positions looking up towards brute force.
Where's he going?
He's going back for his precious.
Kevin's going back to the blue, back to basics.
Keep
I like
it secret, keep it safe.
You know what? This secret and safe could be really good, actually, considering that circle shift. He could just rotate around and be happy.
The wide wrap is still possible, yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I would say this is actually a little bit of a rough circle to play in. With Prism being over towards that eastern side, I think some teams might benefit from that high ground you can play on just towards the west side of Prism itself. But it is pretty barren terrain, a lot of this.
There's a lot of, on the west side as well, there's a lot of tree coverage, so it makes hard for line of sight. But anyway, Aces is going to be pushing through here for Dimwerte against GK, seeing if they can actually completely dislodge them. There are reinforcements on the way. They're a little further away, though. They've dealt with this, but here they are, Ragnar, being taken down straight away with the DBS, and they're gone as well. A great hold from Dimwerte.
GK just does not have enough adrenaline flowing through the veins over the past couple of days. The hot drops are not doing it for them anymore. These guys are thrill seekers, and they just cannot find that thrill at the start of the game to lead them towards more glory in that end game. In the meantime, next is racked up to 7 eliminations so far. Wow, Meku!
All right, calm down. Going for the spray. Not going to be working out here, but the reinforcements do come in. Kitsune is here to try and help things out. But, I mean, they're against the numbers here. I don't know how this is going to work out for them. Ooh.
A couple of interesting grenades coming through. Kitsune backs it off. Beck does get absolutely slammed here. And Gladiators once again down to 3 players. Kitsune, great air burst there on the grenade to take down Beck, even though he was very low. Just Fury remaining as Kitsune tries to clear out more locations.
Fury is trying to throw off their expectations on those walls, trying to find some off angles wherever he can. Black-white. More nades coming through. Will they connect? It's on the right side of the wall there. Kitsune takes some damage. Likewise, Matic is now down. So, excuse me, not doing too bad. They'll want to get rid of Beck, though. He's giving them information. Finish him.
They have to threaten this out. Goes for Fury with the DBS. Lutz actually finds Havlik in the back, and I think Fireflux is going to finish the job on this engagement. Actually, Fury survives. They might be able to get 3 up here, but slowly but surely, these players on the outside wall are getting peppered down by the Mini 14. Just a brutal weapon.
Absolutely devastating. I mean, looking at this, right, they had themselves an eventual transition off of Alamo and controlling this ridgeline. Anything in the north is their prey at that point here. So, yeah, excuse me, really kind of caught dead to rights there. They're not going to be able to get out of that situation. And now we wait for the next circle shift.
Yeah, because I think a lot of things have just paused here with the compounds that are still available in play at the center, no less. So I think a lot of teams will just be waiting for this next circle shift. You can see the compounds that are available, most teams have taken. Everyone else is playing on the edge.
Do you remember the first Regnum Carrier victory of this tournament? And where they are currently?
There's no way.
Actually, no, this circle's a bit more north, so it's more likely to be eliminated from this. But next Ryu is also in OP dip, where we died today. That wasn't great, Blank. Covered me when we were
well, we got third party. Well, we didn't get third.
We did get third
The
party.
whole lobby arrived.
Yeah,
OP did.
It was kind of rough. Maxman didn't help us either.
Yeah.
Unreal, unreal.
And he blamed me.
He did blame you.
Said I was in the way of the enemy's bullets.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Maxman. Oh, real. Anyway, let's see how this is going to go. Because this is a little bit north compared to that previous finish we had where Regnum Carrier was able to be victorious in a similar area. Vision is now moving here on this west side, chasing Dimwerte. It's Mad Max Fury Road all over again. Not you, Max.
Wow, that is some clean shots coming through from Elementrix, though. Mon goes down. as do another from Vision. And I think that right now, Vision Esports sorely regrets chasing down Demuerte back to their dwelling on that side. Mad Bulls, though, I would say they have a fairly decent spot. Gangsters, Kevin is in the... Kevin is in the dead center of the circle.
He is. Gee.
Wow.
That is awesome for Gangsters. But anyway.
I love this team. I love
them too. We've got ourselves EXO, though. We do like Nexus as well. They were doing so well in our region, but I'm having a hard time here. He's still alive. He's running away from the shack that he had. Bless.
Oh. I mean, that was actually probably a good decision for him to get away from there. Drops as many smokes as possible and will just try and lay down in the middle of the road.
They're so confused as to why they haven't got rid of him yet. Yeah. They are so confused. They used a lot of grenades for that.
Is he going to go back in the shack?
I think that would be an unbelievable... That's an unbelievable play. 300 IQ.
He's faked them out big time.
I love that.
Fireflux is so madly addled by this situation that Kevin's got away with it. He slipped on the ring and disappeared.
That was amazing. I love everything about that. Well played, Kevin. As now, we're still back on board with Nexus. Where are they? Down south. And generally, previously what we saw in a circle like this was Falcons kind of down there. They moved up towards Regnum Carrier and then lost very quickly.
Yeah.
So let's see how Nexus is going to deal with that angle.
Yeah, again, I think from where Nexus is coming from, it's just quite flat over towards these compounds that look down towards that southeast side. And you just have a sort of a tree line and a couple of rocks to play around with. So pushing up into that position, you have to do it in a different way that Falcon did, which is very disjointed. You have to be really fast. You have to throw the smokes in, as they're doing right now, and then make the instantaneous push. It depends whether they want to head up towards Brute Force that Kapahala has scouted, or if they want to crash Regnum Kaya's compound. It looks like they're going to head up towards Brute Force's spot.
Yeah, there is actually quick ways to block lines of sight on Brute Force's compound. So you could do that, as you say, with the smokes very, very swiftly. But it looks like Falcons up to the north. Their next challenge is probably going to end up being Fireflux. Soulcade is very, very close to them. Likewise, there's a lot of reinforcing angles here from Fireflux. But here comes the Nexus move.
Yeah, this is, again, pretty decent in terms of the smokes that they've thrown. And they're just going to pass right on through. Wow. It looks like they're going to make a really, really big wrap over towards that north side, taking a leaf out of the Gangster's book here. Falcons... They need to learn from something like that, man. That was actually a decent play. They will have to re-inject over towards this northeast side. They don't have a super concrete position to play around with, but it's better than nothing at this point.
Still holding Falcons out up at the top. They will not have the easiest time of being able to make this move themselves. I don't think Punching King has any vehicles to his name. Loxy, in the distance, is able to bring some pain against Brute Force. And now Nexus is pushing slowly onto that Brute Force location, but they're just... Okay, you've taken this spot, but it doesn't last for long. What's the game plan here, Nexus?
Yeah, I think there had to be an inject in, like I said before. It has to happen. And I think they did step 1 and kind of forgot about step 2 and 3. Because, well, actually, they did step 1, which was throw the smokes, get a good train going. Step 2 was to make that rotate, and then step 3 was to get into the circle itself, and they just didn't go for that last step.
I think what happened was step 1, you get the smokes in, and step 2, they error 4-0 forward and kind of just...
Yeah.
I don't know.
They definitely blue screened there. And, and it's sad to see. It is sad to see because I think that they had the right idea of it. And again, for Nexus, I hope they come back to a LAN like this on an offline event feeling better, because you can only go away with good memories about this event at the end of the day.
I mean, they're not a last place team.
Yeah, they're not a last place team.
No, I would say not in this kind of lobby. I mean, they are currently, but anyway, that's by the by. Excuse me, making a big move, but it's not going to be enough, as we have Mad Bulls here with an extremely strong location available to them, able to hold them out.
Yeah, right now, it's a really good hold that Mad Bulls are going for, and they're pretty aware of all the things happening around them at this point in time. Kevin is being a nice stop to a lot of teams over towards the northwest side. The Mad Bulls don't even have to send a player towards there to kind of threaten that there's a team in that position for themselves. So it does help them out quite a bit, actually.
I was surprised, actually. I'm glad we're on board here with Fireflux, because I was surprised that they didn't have good angles on Demuerte, but it looks like that they've just got a little lip of terrain that I'm not as familiar with as usual, as Lamentrix will be smoked up, and Tapok's going to try and retrieve him. It looks like another player is going to be able to move on over there and get him. So Fireflux is moving forwards here, looking for a little bit of a leapfrog against Muerte.
Going to be pretty easy to do as well. Whilst this res goes through, I think that now that res has happened, Fireflux realizes that that is happening in the meantime. And I think with that Ivy, you go for the push. Kevin just hit a nade up towards Muerte, actually. And that makes Fireflux's push over towards the eastern side even easier. This is what I was saying. The decision is either you push onto the team or you use that opportunity during the res to get away.
And next Ruya here, trying to make their moves as well. Against Vision, who's holding out this. There goes a molly through, but he's trying to deal with this. Dokkan Machine will go down. The DBS doing a lot of damage, but it's not going to be enough. Difficult to make that work alone here, as Wolf as well is able to deal with it.
Regnum Kaya taking shots over towards next three as well. These guys are on a swivel at the moment. They're taking shots up towards brute force. They are threatening so many positions at the moment. Muerte also is struggling because Kevin is tossing grenades their way, in which case Fireflux has actually come back in to re-go for this engagement. That is an interesting rotate coming through from Regnum Kaya. They're taking names.
It's a big move. It's a big move to try and bring some damage here against next Ruya. I guess they realized that they would end up rotating south if they were to be left alone. So a big push on over there. Meanwhile, Fireflux going up against Muerte. Just so many smokes. It's going to be a stalemate across this ridgeline for a while. I'm very curious to see how Regnum Kaya is dealing with on that south side.
Yeah, Wild's already found another nade here. This is so interesting. A lot of times, these long-range shots don't come to anything, but Regnum Kaya is so good at making these instantaneous decisions. They've just sent 2 players over here to deal with the remainder of next Ruya. Like you said, that southern rotation could be problematic for them in future, but this has really put a stop to it before it can even start.
It's not a possible move if you don't know the lay of land really, really well. The fact that they know that they can get away with a 2-2 split like that, but then being said, Loxy's down in the distance by the looks of things. They really want to get him up fast. He's still near the compound. They could do. I think they've given this up. I think they realize they have to get back together, try and find some spot in the circle, but it is going to be difficult sending it from this compound north.
I think they've delayed next Ruya more than enough though, right?
Maybe, yeah.
The res had to come through. It's going to be difficult to get healed up and then get back on your bike and moving.
They at least put fear in them, right?
It did, yeah. So that will stop them forcing themselves down towards that south side. And they have stopped short of the road here and are just pressuring onto Mad Bulls. And actually, by doing this, causing next Ruya to have to move further east, they've essentially caused a pinch between 2 teams, themselves and next Ruya, onto Mad Bulls, which is the true threat here.
Yeah, because they have the spot in the circle. And then, you know, if you dislodge Mad Bulls, then you 2 can fight over that spot a little later on. But at least it gives you that potential of getting somewhere in the circle, whereas prior, it might not have at all. The blue is going to be pushing them, though. As you can see, Loxy's reinforced the 2 at the front to try and help them out. Next Ruya is playing scared, man. They're all lying down. They need to make this push happen quickly, otherwise the blue's going to be nipping at them.
I love this play overall. I mean,
it's good.
Yeah,
it's
Regnum Kaya just drew the line in the sand and have now forced Mad Bulls into a horrible engagement.
It's a big move, trying to move on up against the Mad Bulls here. They're going to try and go for this, but big spray is coming out across it. Loxy was still up there for a moment. He's going to try and salvage, but it's not going to be the case. That's a big scalp to take for Mad Bulls. But Regnum Kaya, I understand what they wanted to do, just wasn't successful.
Yeah, it's a massive defense. I think they'd hoped that Mad Bulls was more preoccupied with next Ruya, but you have to give mad respect to the Mad Bulls. The fact they were able to hold on to this as long as they did. It was sort of helped by Muerte, who is still on this northern side, who have clear sights down towards next Ruya as they were pushing through, because they were constantly having to stand up and run away from the blue at that point in time. But Brute Force now has probably one of the best positions in the circle, the high ground that they hold. Goodness me, there has to be some shots over towards Frozen.
Tries to go for the double spray against him and actually divides his attention a little bit too much. Will be shot at and taken down by Tulika. Mad Bulls still continues to weather the storm. And now in the distance, you can see Brute Force trying to take extra angles to apply pressure to that dip.
Somehow they've taken a knock, though, as they push further down towards this circle. They do get it back up. But Zachariah, extremely low HP. Muerte with 12 eliminations. You know, they have weathered the storm on that north side. It's not been easy. They've taken multiple knocks as well. Fireflux has really made their life very hard, Galaris. Despite all that playing on basically a plateau, they've done amazingly.
Yeah, some of these locations are kind of terrifying because exactly of how flat they are, right? So you're constantly having to go prone, try and keep yourself alive. Actually, a really cheeky angle here for Brute Force against where Mad Bulls is. You won't be able to see him too easily through some of that grass coverage. But Demuerte now moving up with the smokes. They realize, though, the angles are very against them.
That's gorgeous.
They're going to have to, yeah, it's a very nice smoke wall. Well, will it work, though? Will they be able to make and find themselves a solid spot?
That was instantaneous. You know, that
Really
is
well
just
done.
one after another from two players coming over. Frozen takes a lot of damage. Will be taken down by Prepod. Tapok looks to finish it off. MG3 here before YDO. That is a dangerous weapon to come up against. Aces started off on. And Brute Force is taking fights against two different teams at the same time. I mean, they know they have a strong spot.
Oh. Yeah, it's going to be difficult, though, with these nades raining down on this position. Still has 4 left to go. Demuerte, they made an amazing smoke wall, but it's not going to be enough. Sprays through into the smokes as well, and they're almost able to take down the rest of them. Not only with the ump, but there was also MG3 in play, as we were saying, and that's them gone. There was a valiant effort here from Demuerte, but the terrain was very against them.
Mad Bulls, if they saw this was just 2 teams remaining, they might have pushed onto the knock they found towards Prepod and Neds way earlier. I think they think there's more teams involved here at this point in time. But for the Mad Bulls, as soon as that knock goes through, you hear the engagement happening on that northern side. You just push in towards Prepod and Neds, and they just didn't take that opportunity while they could.
Yeah.
And now Brute Force can really take control of the circle.
They're trying to suffocate Mad Bulls here. They're trying to suffocate them. The one thing that could cause them problems might be Solus. I think they realize, though, they can sense there is still a solo over there.
That's a great
Spots him
spot.
out. Really good eyes on that one. And now that suffocation play. Look how little Mad Bulls has to play with. This should be Brute Forces.
Yeah, there's nothing Mad Bulls can do. They are playing around with this tiny little lip. They need to find a knock, and they need to find it now. And it's so unlikely they'll find either of them because from both sides, there is a crushing amount of damage coming through. Fleekate takes the nade, and there's another, and it will be the finish. Brute Force take a chicken dinner, and it is a well-deserved one because the way that they spread up in that end game, very